Cool. All right. Peace, everybody. Shalom, Sister Manira. So, okay. Today, welcome to Movie Innerstandings. I am Brother Lowe. Already, Sister, Sister Cohesion. Okay. So, today's movie we're talking about is, yes, Jermaine. Yes, I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad you are at my left for what you requested. I am glad. So, peace, Max. Peace. So, we're talking about the Tomorrow War. All right, peace, everybody. Yes, peace, Sister Aquia. Peace. So, we are talking about the Tomorrow War, requested by Sister Kashia. Do not, do not get it twisted. Just in case. Peace, Chief. Very deep. Sure. So, we're talking about the Tomorrow War, and well, it's a movie that just came out, and it's it's the premise. I'll say this: the premise it is interesting, but if they brought a more logical standpoint to the premise, that could have been a very deeper understanding. If they would have stuck to the landing with the premise, right? Because it's very usually with sci-fi movies, you always have people going to the future or people going to the past, mostly the past at times. But this one was very interesting in the sense that it's the future that actually goes to the past, not somebody in the present, that goes into the future or the past, but it's actually the future that goes into the past, So, it's December 2022, next year. I thought they were going to try and link it to Prometheus or something. No. Nah. No, Max. Prometheus can only be linked to, like I say, Alien and Predator, because they're in the same series, basically the same series. It's just that Prometheus is more. It's just the prequel. That's all. It's just a prequel. Oh, it was interesting, huh? Well, I'm gonna go a little bit off my notes, but I'm gonna let you know right now. I don't have many. Don't have much. But the main character is called Dan. Dan Forrester, and he's got a family, and they're having a Christmas party, in the suburbs, in a nice big house, with everybody, and and well, he's trying to get this job, and he doesn't get it, and so but he has family around him, which says at least something about that. When you're down or something, sometimes it takes the family to bring you up, and it's the daughter, which was interesting. It's the daughter, not the wife, that actually says everything's gonna be okay, Daddy. You know what I'm saying? And then they come with a dang on. He comes with a saying, you got to be willing to do what nobody else is willing to do, right? Which was very interesting, because you could take that into many lanes, but what's interesting is that they're watching World Cup, right? And one of the teams, I think one was based off colors, One was France, it looks like, because they wear deep blue like that and whatnot. So one was France, and the other one was, of course, Brazil. And but so the playing soccer, and then they actually go to the soccer field, and you see the striker just going all the way to the other goalpost. Which to me, I'm like, don't he look offside? But that's just me and my sports mind. But then a portal opens up, right? And you have Lieutenant Hart, and she explains, people in the future come out, and one of them is Lieutenant Hart. She's cute, and she explains the situation in the future. And just saying that, we are your sons, your daughters, your grandsons and granddaughters and whatnot, which that's the premise for me. How bloodline is asking for the help, of their own lineage or their own ancestors or parents, for help to save their future, because they're dealing with an alien threat and they're dying out and they need the help of the past in order to save the future. Like I say, that premise alone is good. Very interesting. And I like that. It was very interesting. And you could go so deep into that blood bond. If you think about it, problem is, you know, they didn't stick to the landing today, and that was my issue. Because, like I said, you could have done so much, but they only stick to one bloodline. And that's the main character. When you got so many, so it's very that's why I was like, you know, just the main character, But it is what it is. Who has daddy issues, So the past starts to fight in their war. They go to the future and start fighting their war, and they're losing. Even with the help of the past, they're still losing, and a lot of people are dying. Which, if you see, if you've seen a lot of sci-fi movies that do with future and time travel and things of that nature, you're thinking like, well, if these people die, doesn't that affect the future anyway? Because if they died, and if some of these people can't be born, shouldn't they be? But apparently that doesn't happen. You see, So talk about it, I was having an issue with it. You ask for the help of the past, but because all these people are dying, because you get the help from all over the world, military units from all over the world. The problem is they're dying. They're not winning. They're dying. So if the people in the past or your parents or your grandparents are dying, that means you don't exist anymore. So why don't you see, people phasing out, those from the future, you know, just turning into nothing or disappearing. You don't hear you don't hear or see any of that, which was very interesting, So yeah. And so, then, he teaches, he's a scientist, and he teaches science, high school science, you know. Yes, it's just Sheehan, I'm going to be talking to you a lot because of this movie. Not just because I'm gonna say it right now, not because it's bad, just because you will understand what I'm talking about because we come from the same military background. So, um, he teaches high school science, and the kids are down and they don't want to learn. They too worried about what's happening going on in basically in this future war. And only one guy has a question. Of course, it's the token, black kid, and he knows everything about volcanoes. Everything about volcanoes, and nobody wants to hear it, But that's what he wants to talk about, because he finds it interesting. But that's a part of science. That's a part of how the world was made. The world was made through volcanoes and things of that nature. You need those things. That fire and that earth element and whatnot. but nobody wants to talk about it because they're too distressed about them losing the war, right? And so while he's doing that, he finds out that Dan finds out that he's drafted, you know, and he uh he has to go to MIPS. Okay, for those that don't know, if you've never served before, okay, MEPS is basically the military station where you go to one swear in, you know, also to get your checkup, for some, at least in my area, it was also a recruiting station. But usually it's where you go to get checked out, get your medical done, and get your fingerprints done, and things of that nature, and pick out your job, your MOS. Yes, MEPS. Thank you, Sister Kashia. For those that don't know, you know, and it's like a 2 day thing. It's like a 2 day thing. It's also the station where you go before you ship out for like basic training or things of that, or even AIT. You know what I'm saying? Even AIT, or for those that don't know, AIT is it's your job training. I just say it like that. You know, it's your job training. So for those that don't know, he went to MEPS, and so basically his he's getting checked out, and he's basically getting this thing on locator thing on his arm that helps him travel, but they look at his records, his future records, about saying he's going to die in 7 years. And he's like, well, how do I die? And they, basically the doctor or the military physician doesn't tell him, but he dies in 7 years. You know what I'm saying? But he gets this thing put on his arm, and he goes home. Yes. Thank you, Sister Kashia. I'm sorry. Yes, there are a lot of acronyms. AIT is Advanced Individual Training. I just try to simplify so you don't have to worry about the acronyms, because you know why should you worry about it? You ain't in the military. So yeah, what she said, what she said. Good, thanks. So he goes back home, tells his wife, and his wife, she says we should run. First he's told, okay, that if he runs, he'll be in prison. And if they don't find him, his mom, I mean, well, not his mom, but his wife or daughter would take his place. When I thought about him getting drafted into MEPS, actually what I thought about was the Vietnam War. And for those that had family that was drafted, his classification, I thought about that, because I remember, one thing, like my dad and them, they used to talk about their classification. Oh, my classification was A1. I remember watching a documentary about, Muhammad Ali getting drafted, and his was A1. I was like, yeah, you A1. You they go ship you out quick, So yeah, that's one thing I remember. And but she says run, and he says, that's not liable. It was a fast process. Get them in, ship them out. Yeah. Ain't well. Melps took hours for me. Sister Kashia. Melps took hours, but yeah, to get you in and ship you out. But um, she tells him, go talk to your dad. And he's been estranged from his dad because apparently his dad left him and his mom and whatnot. So he goes to see his dad, who's basically a pilot for a private pilot, and he's making buku money, fixing planes and flying planes for a rich client, you know. But his dad is a Vietnam vet, right? um, so what I'm saying. He talks to his dad, and his dad sees his arm and whatnot. He says, "You come to the only guy that basically knows what to do, in this situation. I can get that out for you." Dad was hip. to what was happening with the government. Of course, he is. You meet a lot of Vietnam vets. They, because of what happened to them, or during that time, they are very, untrustworthy or anything like that. Very, very in the know when it comes to that. That's very interesting. I will say that. Them boys, they are very, oof, Um, right. Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, I'm tracking. I'm tracking. But you know, um, he gets to an argument with his dad about him leaving him and his mom, and his dad says when I got back from Vietnam, I was in a dark place, and it would have been better for me to leave than stay, because if I had stayed, then the people who would have been at risk was you and your mom. And so, Dan is like, no, you was just, you were just afraid and a coward. And I'm like, well, if you know Vietnam vets, you know what I'm talking about. If you those that were really in the thick of things, you know, they really have, very bad PTSD, and it causes domestic violence situations. So, you know, that's not a excuse of being afraid. If you know that you have a psychological issue, and that you can take it out on, your spouse or your children, peace, brother Antonio. Maybe that's the best thing. Get separate households or something like that. Come up with solutions, in order to keep the family together. But in this solution, his best solution was to just leave them. In order to stop some things from happening, because you don't want to, be in the middle of the night, and then you choking out your wife, saying no, VC, anything can happen. So yeah. Um, but and Dan leaves. He doesn't ask for his help, because his own ego, doesn't want to understand, or anything like that. So he leaves and decides, to be susceptible to the draft. You know, and so Dan goes again to what they call basic training. Okay, because this is the part of the movie where I'm talking to most of the screen, and I'm really in, even though I never was one, I'm really in drill sergeant mode. And Sister Kashia, I don't see how you like how you was not probably not talking to the screen with being in military mode. Like, what are they doing? What are they? And here I am, just full mode. Like, okay, they send these people here, and they don't teach them, and they just outfit them. And that's something you don't. And it's like, no wonder that they're losing. They're not literally training these people. you know um and they're of all ages, old and young, you know and they're not doing anything. They're just handle some, well, fatigues and a weapon, and that's it. Where if you want to win a proper battle or a war, you want your soldiers trained, one, so you do not have a high mortality rate, and two, they are more effective in the war. So here I am, like, so you just go, y'all ain't teaching them how to shoot. Y'all just send them to this dang on hangar. I mean, what are we doing? What what is this? you know, couldn't get my hands on the movie, but I just came to offer more support. Oh, brother Anthony, it's all right. It's all right. I got you. That's what I'm here for. No training on movement, no training on tactics, formations, nothing. I mean, it's just, huh? What? Who? I'm just like. What are you doing? Well, you just send these people to their death. They just gonna be canified. I mean, what's going on here? So you want proper move. You want proper movement. You know what I'm saying? You want proper formations. Not only that, because I'm going to probably refer to this movie a lot. You want proper weaponry. One thing I like about this movie called, which is basically the same premise, just different. Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers, right? The thing about that one is they actually trained the troops, but not only that, they had proper weaponry. That was one thing you saw in that movie was, you know, the weapons that they have. Not only that, when you want proper weaponry so you could take down the threat, it seemed like they didn't have proper weaponry to take down the threat. Nobody thought about making anything or creating new weaponry to take down this new threat, or proper weaponry so because of the simple fact that the only way you could actually kill this thing was in the neck or in the stomach, but they're apex predators. So it's hard to really pretty much shoot, the stomach, without them lunging at you. So what do? You probably create proper munitions, to pierce, maybe something, no matter where you hit, it actually disables or paralyze, the threat, so you can actually make a kill shot. But here we go. you know, we don't get that. You just throwing off rounds. Um, they might as well gave them folks slingshots. Thank you, Cecil. We here. You might as well gave him slingshots. Slingshots or slings, like David had, you know. But they didn't have nothing, and no wonder why they were losing, But yeah, and then we meet, other characters like Charlie and Dorian. Dorian is a return deployer, and whatnot. Um, what scent was that? I saw a boy loading a pistol in the trailer. And he was he was hunting rabbits. Yes, he was hunting rabbits. But not only that, like I say, there was no effective weaponry or munitions which you need. Not only that, there was no cohesion. You have to work as a team. you know, you have to work as a team. You know, okay. For the minute I knew there's a concept of battle buddy system, right? In the military sense, the battle buddy system is just not just paired. It's your whole squad. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why you have a battle buddy is not just so he can be accountable for you, but it's also to keep you alive. Because okay, Vietnam vets, right? One thing my dad used to say, you do not, you never go to the bathroom alone because you end up getting killed. So you always have somebody watching out for you, or you use the same spot, where everybody else did, just so you wouldn't get killed, and not only that, people wouldn't know your position, So that was one reason why the battle buddy system was created, to keep you alive, you know, just in case something went down. Um, so here you have a group of people who are not formally trained. They don't have no cohesion, no unit cohesion or anything like that. They're just there. They're just there, because they got drafted or whatever. Um, yeah, of course it made what scene was that? Okay, the scene was basically where they're at reception, what we would call reception. It's like before you get to actual basic training. You're at reception and you get your clothes and things of that nature, and take your picture, get your haircut. That's where you get your haircut, and you actually process in for basic training and things of that nature, which they were doing, in a sense, but it was just a small hangar, you know. Usually that process takes like a week, depending, depending on your situation, you know. Um, Holding around basically your last peaceful sleep. Yeah. That's how I know the military wasn't for me at all, because I was oblivious. Well, I would say that to an extent, Sister Kashia, but Sister Queen, I'm sorry. But martial, military science can be taught to anybody. It could be just a cultural thing, or cultural military science is oblivious to some people. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not yours. You didn't create it. Somebody else created it for you, or somebody created it for their own people, and you just happen to be an auxiliary to to the system or whatever. It could be that. Um, you don't know because of some fact you only know somebody else's military science. You don't know your own. So it could be totally different because military science deals with your own cultural issues to make you effective in a fight. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot. Exactly. 3-4 exact 3-4. See, already, since she what we know. Now, me personally, out of those generations, I think all of most of mine is draft. Nobody both volunteered except for me, but mostly draft. But for sure, we understand that, right? But the key to that is that unit cohesion and all of that can be taught no matter what culture you're in. You know what I'm saying? But it's effective if you come up with it yourself and not have somebody else come up with it. Like let's see. Okay, for instance, since we're in this part of the world, like the Sioux. The Sioux had a hunting culture and they hunt buffalo. Well, they came up with, and they were good with horsemanship, So they came up with unit cohesion and tactics to take down a buffalo, more than one. That's sort of what I mean, coming up to solve your own problems, and things of that nature. Um, yeah, I was worried about going to actual war. Well, I can understand that, Sister Queer. That does happen. But this is from I can't speak on the female perspective. For us as males, if you called to go, you called to go. If you get that, if you have people that's been and they give you that talk to say, if you called to go, you called to go. But always remember this: better you than them, and you do you do whatever you have to get back home. You get those type of talks. you know, but but yeah, you know, um, so he's put into a unit called R forces, which is research forces. Mind you, they don't do nothing researchable, but it is what it is. And they are immediately jumped into the future. You know, that's why I got. I'm sure. Well, it's totally understandable. Totally understandable. I'm glad you did too. Good job. Um, yeah. So they're jumped to the future, but there's an error, and they're totally jumped someplace where they wasn't supposed to be jumped to, or the jump point, some. And once again, you have death because people are falling from the sky, and they're, basically skyscrapers, and there's no ground. So people just falling down, and luckily Dan and his people, a few, are lucky to hit a pool, a ceiling pool that you see on some skyscrapers or whatever, which was another problem, just for the simple fact that here I am being logical, thinking about the depth of the pool, um, the impact, how you survive, how you survive this impact if you're free falling from the sky. I'm actually putting science into it, you know. Um, yeah, just random people, and but they survive. They survive, and so they're tasked with a rescue mission to rescue some researchers in another building, that's crawling with white spikes, which white spikes are the alien creatures that they're fighting. Science, yes, we do it for science, brother Antonio. So that's what they're doing, right? So they're tasked with that. So this whole rescue mission, like I said, Sister Kashia, I'm in military mode, drill sergeant mode, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Because the whole the whole mission, I'm like, okay, you got people that ain't trained, and you trying to teach them situational awareness, things of that nature, real quickly, which they should have already. This is why you train them for. Situational awareness. They're not looking up. They're not looking down. One thing you never do, okay? If you have a weapon, always keep your weapon pointed down, so you do not what we call flag your battle buddy or the person in front of you, to the side of you, whatever. So you keep your weapon down so you are not flagging them. Because you have to treat your weapon like it's loaded. Therefore, you do not put your weapon all over everywhere. And here they are doing that. I'm like, here I am, having heart palpitations because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, because I don't like people that do that. They don't know what they're doing with a gun. They just looking at it like it's cute. And I'm like, if you don't not stop, I'm gonna go over there and literally tackle you because you don't know what you're doing. Saving your life, right? No, I was not a drill sergeant, Sister Aquia, but it stuck with me. And somebody told me, you should be a drill sergeant. Like, why? I don't talk. Like, no, but your little comebacks or whatever, you should be one. But yeah, they trying to stay alive, but they're not doing the best job at it. you know. Everybody's looking front, nobody's guarding, nobody's looking in the back, nobody's guarding the rear. Nobody's guarding the rear, nobody's looking up, pointing their weapon up, looking at the ceilings or the skyscraper windows. you know there's no line file, or stagger formations. I mean, I understand nobody don't know what they're doing, but I mean, you do have some trained people that's been there, and they ain't saying, "Look, you stand right here, you stand right here, you go right there, you go right there." You got more than one person. They just being quiet. Mind you, like I say, Dan and Dorian are not the only veterans there. There are others there that Dorian and his squad. Why you keep, God, Sister Queen? That is, you don't. I guess you don't understand because when that happens, that can harm you. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever been put in that situation, which I have, that can literally harm you. And that would be like, let me breathe, man, because they don't know what they're doing. you know. So yeah, they were basically playing laser tag out there. Exactly, Sister Kashia. But they're going up, they're going up, they get these vials that they need. Oh, it's okay. Well, even if you play it with me, I still, I still can answer you. I still can ask you a question. But they get the vials. One thing I was like, why did you not put the vials already in the salt pack before you left, you know, the laboratory? More than one person has an assault pack, or a um, a bag, a book bag. You can put that in there and you don't have to carry it. Why is he carrying it? And then you have the stairway scene. And the stairway scene, they're trying to go downstairs because the white spikes got the entrance of the building cornered, right? But the stair, back stairway is open. Now, here I am wondering, one, why is look, there wasn't a bunch of people looking up, one bunch of people looking down. But at the same dang on time, here I am wondering, why is the one with the shotgun the first one to leave? when you got the when you got the newbies in the back with the small, SMGs that are not doing nothing to the white spikes. And I'm like, right now in close, proximity, um, in the close proximity building, the one with the shotty is the most effective. And here I am, like, why did they just let him leave? He should be the one guarding the back because he's the one that has the most effective weapon in that situation. Not only that, I am wondering, why didn't nobody get um the saw from the which is a big heavy machine gun, from the from the car. I just say that, from the truck or whatever you want to call it. I'm not gonna really but yeah, that. And usually those type of weapons you have in squad formations just for that situation as well, and you didn't have that. And so here I am, like, what are y'all doing? Y'all try to get killed. They try to kill y'all. They could have beaten them. Human error is why they were dying at an alarming rate. It's just not human error, but nobody learned from the error. Nobody complained and said, okay, y'all keep on sending me here. You got this 7-day tour. Nobody's learned a lesson on what's effective. I mean, you have a research unit and you may not have, the the biology of the queen, but you know that these are all males. So I'm sure you studied their biology. So the best, you create things for the best effective way to kill them. And nobody did that. And here I am, like, oh, here we go again. But it is what it is. um I'll fire this off before that. See, Sister Sister Quinn, you already know that thing ain't no joke. That thing would lay down some rounds and you would be, for those of us that fired off one before. But they didn't do that, But that goes with squad, cohesion. You don't want everybody toting a rifle. You want somebody with a shotgun or with a saw, to best help the unit or the squad or whatever, or platoon, But they didn't have that. It's like, what are you doing? But so they go to basically a safe point, because basically airplanes are coming to drop bombs on the city of Miami. Basically it's like napalm. They basically gonna napalm the building. For those who don't know what napalm is, it's basically a bomb that is a firebomb that spreads. It's usually an orange chemical, and it just burns everything. You one example is Vietnam. They put a lot of napalm down in Vietnam, and it burned a lot of people. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, it was like napalm. So they're trying to run to get away from this, aerial bombing. Now, and they're deviating from course a little bit. The squad that's supposed to pick them up gets ambushed by dang home, um, by White Spice. Nobody look. They got saw gunners up top, and none of them was none of them was moving the gun from side to side, guarding them. I'm just so they take this one route where they're jumping, across basically a viaduct, you know, and one of the guys fall, and so Dan goes down there to save him. Okay, this is something I was taught based on wounds and injuries. Um, if you know, if the situation is too hairy or you the the wound is too grave, you leave the person that's there. You there's nothing you can do. There's really nothing you can do. The guy fell like he broke his legs. You know, you can you they don't have what they call a sled where they could just carry him while they are basically fighting. So it's literally a done deal, and you already see White Spice coming. I mean, you're basically taking yourself out the fight, and that's something you don't want to do. That's something that is trained. You never take yourself out the fight because people die dead weight. Thank exactly, Sister Deirdre. You know, so him and another girl stay to hold him off. But like I say, no effective firing or no effective munitions or weaponry, so they get overrun and get caught in the napalm. So or the bombing run. But they make it, and we get to they end up in a Democratic Republic, or DR, Dominican Republic. And Dorian, he's like, man, none of this don't matter, um and we ain't saving nobody, he's like, man, whatever. And then Dan's like, I don't believe that. And why do you have that trophy around your neck? Okay, for some that don't know, at least historically and many times over, soldiers did take souvenirs of enemies. And since we're humans, yes, that means they cut off a human appendage. And the weirdest thing some would do was send it to their girlfriend. Don't I never understood that, but that's happened, But yeah, not legal, right? So, um, um, he explains it's to remind me that I have cancer and that basically I'll be dead in 6 months. And this is a reminder to say that I'm going to die the way I want to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to die slow and in the hospital or something. You know, see, see, Sister Kashia, you already know. I haven't, but I know it's been done. I haven't, but I know it's been done. And it's crazy, but I guess some people do that just to prove, their rights and passes of manliness, whatever. But um, after that scene, eh, that was another thing. I didn't like the melanin rich dominated actors. I didn't like their characters, because it was typical stereotypes. It is what it is. But that was another reason why I had an issue with this, whatever. Um, so Dan meets the colonel who gave him the mission, and it's actually his daughter, Mary. You know, um, and so Dan, but Mary is cold to him, and he doesn't know why. You know, but Dan is sent on basically an extraction mission for the White Spikes female, because they need the female to find a way to kill off all white spikes. So they need her biology or DNA. They need her DNA to come up with a serum to kill off all the white spikes. Like I say, sounds just like Starship Troopers in a sense. So, um, Muri tells Dan his life in the future, or the life that she knows. You know, mind you, this, like I say, this is a future where people haven't lived yet. So, like I say, logically you think, well, how does this affect the timeline? What's going on? There's no swift changes. So, but she tells him of his life that he hasn't lived. I'm a back. Yes, I'm sure you are. First step to healing is accept this. At least we're learning combat. You are Max in a sense. That was one thing. If I could give you nothing else, you are learning tactics in a sense, because you need those things to survive. If you ever need team cohesion and things of that nature, if you're in a situation like that, you sort of know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I can't break down everything, like how do you move, like in a room, or how to properly stand, um, and give cover and fire on a wall or something like that. Can't go into all of that, but I can at least tell you something, give you a little bit of militaristic understanding for you to take with you if you're ever in a sort of situation. you know so she tells him his life, and says that you left us, and he's like, I wouldn't do that. I'm not my dad. He's like, I would never leave you. She said, yeah, you left us, and that's her issue. And she was there when he died. He died in a car accident or whatever. He left them. Her parents got divorced and separated, and whatnot, and whatnot. They all got, like I say, this movie got a bunch of daddy issues. They all got daddy issues. And one parent leaving the family. It's crazy. Yeah, definitely what not to do. Yes. And so, you know, um, they go, they get the female, they capture the female, and so they're, well, father and daughter are working on the serum because they're both scientists. He finds out that she went to MIT and things of that nature. I guess he was hoping that she went to Cal State because he went to Cal State. Real, lineage type stuff, I guess you could say. Daddy issues caused by war. Yes, Max. Think about it. What war, man-made caused daddy issues for one, and one extraterrestrial war caused daddy issues for another, and it hasn't even happened yet. But here you are trying to save your lineage so that does not happen. But like I say, it's only Dan that's doing it. They don't go deeper. Like, it would have been nice to see like Lieutenant Hart, because she was cute. like, maybe like Dorian was her father, and she has to, spend as much time as she can with him because he dies in 6 months. That would have been interesting to see. Probably would have probably would have been more heartfelt, because he can't help it. But typical, Western stuff. But it is what it is. So they They find the cure finally, and Myriads, ask her dad to take it back to the past to mass produce it so they can stop the war. You know, and all of a sudden, basically the female. Well, we just gonna say the female queen wakes up, and basically they're on like a drilling station. If you like me, living in the South and on Third Coast, you see these, people, go to oil drilling stations. That's basically what that is. It's like a port drilling station, and the white spikes are swimming. Look, white spikes can fly. They can do everything. They can fly. They can swim, and they're swimming to basically this fort like drilling station to help out the queen. Now, here I am thinking, okay, this is sea warfare. I'm not a Navy man myself, but here I am wondering, well, why don't they have like something like a EMP strike or something? You're around a bunch of water. Why don't you have an EMP weapon where you can electrocute all these dang old white spikes? But obviously nobody thought about that. Why don't they have better sea warfare? Weaponry, with on boats, so they can properly fight these white spikes. I don't. This is it's like pulling teeth. This is why I was just happy. They're just unprotected. They're just unprotected. I mean, shoot, people in Waterworld was better protected than this. I'm just saying, it's just there's no effective barricading. I mean, it seems like you got 3 barricade seawalls, and none of them are effective. I'm like, what's yes, it's the sheer water world. They were better protected than this. I mean, and think about that. That's also sea warfare, and they were attacking from well, jet skis. Is that right? Jet skis, jet bikes, whatever. they were attacking from that, which was interesting. That you could actually use that thing to, for an assault. But their their wall was rusty. It doesn't matter. Look, now I saw out the rock. It doesn't matter, Sister Deidre. It doesn't matter if it was rusty. The wall didn't crumble. That tells you something about metal. It doesn't matter if it was rusty. The wall didn't fall apart, even if it was rusty. They climbed up. So it wasn't the wall that was the problem. You know what I'm talking about? Interesting. They never bothered their drilling station base until they took the queen. Exactly. They didn't bother the drilling station or whatever until they took the queen. Which, how did you know where the queen was? She was sedated. So, did she give off some type of echolocation? Look at me. See, some type of pheromones or something that they can smell, all the way from out there, 10 miles away. But yet they able to track her. So how you gotta think, well, how do you, stop them from tracking her? Pheromones is one. Like I said, pheromones could be one, but they're at sea. So they had to, if it's like certain animals where they're not scouts that picked up on the pheromones and then scouted back and said, hey, yo, went back to like the white spikes, colony and was like, hey, I found the queen, they in the water. You don't see that. You don't get that. You just, you just see scent, but she wasn't screaming though. She was sedated at the point at that time. So how did, like I say, a lot of plot holes. Her heartbeat gave off undetectable to the human ear. Maybe, you never know. It's a lot of things, but they didn't know what they were dealing with. That's another thing. If you don't know what you're dealing with, you want to have the maximum security you can possible because we don't know what's going on. If we're here to research this thing, then we need the most maximum security we can have. And apparently they didn't have it. You know, science. Exactly, Brother Antonio. But you know, the queen gets free. The the male white spice take the drilling station or whatever, and Muri and Dan are trying to get to the helipad so they can basically put time travel him back, jump him back to the past, from air. Well, the problem is the white spice are encroaching all around. So yeah, they're encroaching the whole drilling station. So it's hard to get to the helipad. Not well thought out. See, preparation. She talked about that last strong. And here I am talking about what? Proper militaristic preparation from a Russianized military point of view, sort of. This is why you have to be prepared. Even if you got something like this going on, you're researching something. Well, we got to prepare for the worst possible scenario because we're still at war, but we got to research in order to kill them. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like the Manhattan Project, right? During World War II. They weren't in the war zone or in a bunker somewhere in France or England. They were safe in the States where they could properly research and in Vegas doing testing and whatnot. you know, and look, they were comfortable where they could work. They weren't being bombed or anything like that. They were able to solve, an equation to create the atom bomb and nuclear power at the same dang on time. Apparently. So bam, you know. But it is, but I assure you this, there was a lot of maximum security for that. But it is what it is. But that's just to show you or give you an example of researching during a wartime, for warfare, you know. But after that, Muri gets wounded, and her and Dan, having a father-daughter moment, and whatnot. And as he's being basically sent back, his daughter's fallen to her death, and he's sent back with the serum. Yes, a lot goes on in the desert. Yes, it do. But when he's sent back, they can't send the serum back because they don't have the jump point to the future anymore, which brings back another problem for those from the future that's still in the past, So they're just stuck. He was there to send back the serum, and now they're not going to mass produce it because they can't do nothing about the future. They can't send it back to the future no more anyway. So Dan goes home and he tells his wife Emmy about Muri. He doesn't go into all the details, but yeah, usually you might. Well, it's just one possible future, so I guess you don't have to go into all of that. So, but his wife helps him solve the problem. Okay, we know that they hit landfall or the war starts at this time. So they were already here by then. So we just need to find out what happened during that time. Which, look, husband and wife putting their heads together to solve a problem, goes. But I guess. But um he goes to meet Dorian because Dorian, is gonna die anyway, but he needs his help. And he agrees. Then he goes to see Charlie. Charlie, is doing the science thing and at the big tech, company that he works for. And they examine um, things that they know. They know that they found ash um, in White Spice claws, volcanic ash. And he's like, well, who knows? Who's the expert on volcano? And then here come Dan and say, I know someone. It's the high school kid. And here you have, Charlie being envious and like this. I've always wanted one of these moments. Like, okay, whatever. But basically, Martin tells them of the Millennium Eruption and goes into the history of it and whatnot. That um, and so they know that they have to go to Russia, basically. And so they put a team together with Lieutenant Hart and I guess those from the future, and whatnot. And he asks his dad, and his dad flies to Pain to get them there and helps. Um, and so, they get to Russia, they find the crater and blow it up, and they find the ship. So they find out that the White Spice were the cargo that the ship was carrying, or the colonial cargo that the ship was carrying. And the actual aliens were dead, um, who were flying the plane or flying the spaceship were frozen to death, and they crashed here. And it's not really said if they were supposed to land there or not. But, it is what it is. So they start injecting, the serum into, the cargo, well, the pods that wall pods that they have. And all of a sudden, some of the White Spice began to get free. And they set charges on the spaceship to blow it up if anything happens. And so, like a lot of movies, stereotypical Western movies, Dorian and Lieutenant Hart end up getting killed because they blew up the ship, which is what it is. We already know. We already know. I don't got to explain that to you. The stereotypical, melanin rich dominant person that helps the white savior and ends up getting killed for doing that. Yeah. So one gets away, and Charlie, who's considered a cowardly character, ends up killing one with assault, and he's happy about it. Like he got his manhood, which is a stereotypical view if you think about it of the westernized culture and how they view malnourished people as being cowards. One example comes to mind is Jack Johnson, and how the newspaper used to talk about that yellow streak that he had. He's gonna turn yellow. He ain't gonna fight. And then what do you have? First melanin-rich dominant boxing champion of the world. So yeah, but there was always a stereotypical view of melanin-rich people being cowardly and scary, and you see that in Charlie or whatever. No. Chris Tucker. Yes. You see that? Yes. Good. Another good example. Brother Antonio, Chris. No, well, that and him, um, or whatever, and but yeah, you see these stereotypical tropes, and mind you, they're there for a reason. Always remember that. Nothing They're there for a reason, you know, or whatever. So what if you're a better warrior than the actual main figure? You know, your job is to sacrifice yourself for the greater good of Western culture. It's whatever. But one gets free. But I like this scene simply for the father or the grandfather. Why? Because this guy seemed like the only person that actually did more effective damage to the white spikes in the whole movie. That was the only reason why I liked it. He had enough survival awareness to trick the white spike into effective shooting. That was the only reason why I liked him. He was the most militaristic out of them all. You know, and he was isolated into him exactly because Sister Kashid. He was the most effective firer or effective shooter out of the whole bunch, out of the whole movie, and all he had was a sniper rifle. All he had was a sniper, which also goes into squad cohesion. There was no snipers in this movie. And look, the one sniper that they did have, this old man, this old veteran, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, absolutely. Showing the internal effects of soldiering through those tropes and multi-generational traumas. Yeah. Yeah. Chief. I mean, like you said, Chief, with the Marvel movies, it's basically I'm gonna have to paraphrase, but basically propaganda to rise up, the Western um, male, I would say, the Western male to glory in a sense. That's basically what this movie was. Same thing like you see in the Marvel movies. Same thing. That's what I got from it. Same thing. It's a feel good movie. To rise you up. Yeah, that's how we do. Whatever. But he was the most effective shooter. But they end up, killing the queen. And then because they did it, because they didn't get no help from the government. But then you have the government taking credit for it. The representative that said no, all of a sudden he's like, oh, I came away all along, like he was trying to get voted for re-election. So it is what it is. But Dan comes back to his family, and he has his daughter meet her grandfather for the first time and whatnot, and everybody's a family again. He gets to kiss his wife and hug his family. Apparently, they're the only ones to enjoy it, not us. But yeah, they're the only ones to enjoy real family life or supposed family life. And at the end of the movie, sunshine and rainbows. Mind you, if you look at that whole scene, it looks like they were going through uh, issues even in the States with all the rioting and whatnot. Um, so like they were going through a SHTF ish hit the fan type of situation, or they were about to, just based on how much garbage was piling up or whatever. That's what I was looking at, and it don't look like there was nobody was upkeeping their yard or anything. So I was like, oh, they're going through it. That's why everybody's in their homes apparently, and it's all quiet. But that's the end. That's the end of the movie. And hey, I didn't expect to get all of that out of this, but I thought about it and I thought about it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. There is something that this movie teaches, in a sense. There is something that it teach. or better script writing, because that was, like I said, it was a good premise if they stuck to the landing, but they didn't. It could have been a great premise, at least from an understanding point of view. But people don't want that type of stuff. They don't want that type of enlightenment or transformation. So that was something that I thought about, while watching this movie. Thankfully, I don't have to watch it again. Thank you, Battle Buddy, Sister Kashia. Thank you for this request. I got more out of it than I was expecting. I see that now. Good to brush off the military. Well, that's why really. I thought that's where you were going with it, Sister Kashia. So, but it is, you gotta have that. You gotta brush off those skills, and you always gotta have situational awareness. That that's why when some things happen and you be in go mode, you you be ready. This was a special screening and breaking. This really was Sister Dedra, because I didn't want to harp on this movie, of how bad it was or whatever. But how could I actually teach something out of it? That was the bad thing. How can I teach something out of this movie for people to learn and think about, and make and apply? Well, there's a lot of non don'ts that you don't do. I was Muri name, Muri and there. I should have looked up those names, Chief. I'll be honest. I don't know. I could put a biblical reference on it, but I didn't think that far. With this movie, I really did not think that far ahead. I really did not dig that deep in today's. I really did. I really did. I really did. This is what I really was like. Okay, I'm gonna do it, but I don't see it being that deep. So I didn't. I honestly did not dig. And I didn't think about that, but I did think about that for Muri though. Why her name was like that, but I didn't think of researching the name itself, but it did make me think about that. So Muriel means mirror of Yah. Oh, okay. I knew, and Dan was probably short for Daniel. This was judgment of Yah. Well, give me a sec. Judgment. He was the judgment. She was the mirror. I can see that. Okay. Just by off those names, then it brings into more context of how they played off one another in the movie. Um, and then it comes into context of how, like when Dorian is all fed, we're not going to win this war anyway. Then you have Dan saying, "No, we are going to stop them," and he's the most positive one out the bunch. He's basically, as his name, he's basically giving judgment, saying that the war's not over. So we will become victorious. And then you have Muri being the key figure in all of this because she's the savior of basically finding out the serum, things of that nature. Whereas her father gives the judgment. Yeah, fragrance. I know what I know what myrrh is, but yeah, I get your fragrance. I could be reference to the pheromones of the queen too. It could be, yeah, it could be. But like I said, I just took the movie for what it was worth. So the medicine, yes, the medicine. So it played. Look, now we are connecting the dots because honestly, I took the movie for what it was worth. But yeah, but yeah, now you see with the naming of those two characters, because you do see Dan actually really is being a judge in more than one scene, and Mary, Murray, being that fragrance, basically bringing her father back to the future to help her out. You know, um, attracting basically um, him to her to help her out. You can say that. Yeah, or attracting the queen, to get rid of it, or stop the or end the war completely. But Todachi, look, I struggle with this movie. So, and look, I took it with a grain of salt, but yeah, now we actually do it. Yes, now I'm actually thinking, oh, okay, yeah, now I can see that. Dorian comes from Doros. Doros was an old Greek sea hero. He is the one who emerges from the sea. Hmm. Well, they were at a beach, and he did emerge from a pool. But I don't want to sound like one of those pseudo, you know, them scammers. That's that. Look, I don't want to sound like them scammers trying to grasp at straws. But yeah, I get it. I just don't want to sound like a scammer. Like yeah, because he did this. Say less. But yeah, um, that mirror also helped reverse the generation trauma of daddy issues. Exactly. So she attracted father and son to basically patch things up, and she basically brought her family together. That's her being that mirror. So you're right, Max. Yeah, now I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, now I can see that. Yeah, because she is like the centralized chosen person. Especially how they um um screenshot her in so many scenes, and it's all about Dan saving his daughter. It's not saving the world; it's saving his daughter. You know, with emotions, and there were a lot of emotions in this movie. As you can see, there was a lot of emotions in this movie. So yeah, I can totally, I understand it. I understand it now. you know, and that's what I was looking for in this movie. I thought I wouldn't get it, but now I finally got it, and give thanks. I'm happy that you broke that part down for real. Now this movie has become interesting. Now this movie has become interesting where it wasn't before. So yeah, now this movie has become interesting. But next strong, right? Next strong, we will be doing Princess Mononoke. It's an anime. Um, and this one was requested by brother and Aki Antonio. And yes, Max, I made it. Yes, this was requested by Aki Antonio, Pretty Tony, and I'm glad that he requested it. Because we are going to we're going to show um the sister Queen that it's not just a cartoon. Because I remember you saying, "Oh, you got me watch cartoon." It's not just a cartoon. You gonna see it, man. It's beautiful. Did you all catch the twist? Um, there about climate change. Yes, I saw that one because when they're talking about the polar, well, not the polar caps, but but the Russian ice being melted. Yeah, that climate change. Um, so melting the weather brings new aliens and diseases. Yeah, things that were frozen comes out, and now you got to deal with new epidemics, and apparently this uh, white spikes was like a new predator, but something that came way before, you know. But yeah, I always wonder about that, especially up here. Yeah, happening now is that when people are discovering new things as the eye caps are melting. Yeah, they are discovering new things. They sure are. You know, so it should be interesting. Should be interesting. But yeah, so next we had doing Princess Mononoke. Uh, that is that's actually my first Ghibli movie. Yeah, Princess Mononoke is the first Ghibli movie I watched ever. I knew of some, but I knew some good ones. I'm glad Brother Antonio requested it because it's good. It's good. Ghibli come out with some great movies. Great anime movies. They yeah, Babylon is starring out. Yeah. Oh, it was your first anime ever? Okay, okay. It wasn't mine, but it was my first anime. Um, no, my first Ghibli movie that I ever watched. Because I couldn't watch Spirited Away, so I was able to watch Princess Mononoke. Which I always wanted to do. That was one thing that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to watch Princess Mononoke because I could never watch it. You know, accurate population in those regions. It's just unknown territory. Yeah, it is unknown territory. So that is what we're doing next round. Um, so come out for Shaman New, tomorrow, and everybody enjoy the rest of your strong. And we will see y'all next strong for Princess Mononoke. you know. um, Give thanks. If I could shot, bro. Already. Oh yeah, we gonna have fun with this one because it's not always we can do. Uh, Actually, Chief, she did do the English. She did do the English dub. That's how I knew it was. Look, I wasn't gonna make no jokes about, but she wasn't entangled in this one. But she actually did the voice. She actually did the voice. Um, she actually did do the voice for the English dub. So she did do it. Because I know I was like, ain't that Jada? And then I was looking, it is her. When I first watched it. So yeah. Um, we gonna make anime eat the cake. We gonna make anime eat the cake. Because um, like sister queer, I know she don't know because but anime is very out there, and it's very deep in the sense, you get a lot from Eastern cartoons that you don't get from Western cartoons. Well, Easternized cartoons, then you don't from Western cartoons. Like when she was talking about the Smurfs, I never thought about that stuff about the Smurfs because I was a kid, But now it's like, oh yeah, and Gargamel, you know, and stuff, or like gummy bears, basically being, a rendition of the 100 Years' War or whatever, things of that nature. You never think about those things, you just think of them for nostalgic reasons and say the daggone theme songs and whatnot. But when you get into anime, you be like, oh, that's deep, ooh, huh, interesting, Uh, I like anime. Gotta watch it in low volume though. For sure, for sure, for sure. Already. When it was on tape. Right, right. So that's what we doing, and that's what we're gonna have fun with. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I'm glad you like this, Sister Quinn. Mind you, it's an old anime. You know, they don't. Well, I don't want to sound. They don't make those type of anime like that anymore, which is a shame. You know, that's what some those that are older than me. Someone said that's like the those type of movies and those type of anime TV shows were like the golden age of anime. You know, but peace. Thank you, Chief. Give thanks to that because I don't know. Oof. But thank you. I really appreciate that. I was worried, but that's what we're going to be doing. So enjoy the rest of your strong, and we will see you next strong. So give thanks, everybody, and peace.